Hi, everybody. You're listening to Comics and History, episode number 115, Cole's Notes on DC's Legends, Part 6. And welcome to the show. I am your host, Brian J. Rygate, and class is back in session as we conclude our expansive look at the seminal 1986-87 six-part miniseries from DC, Legends. Again, this was the miniseries which helped establish the landscape of the post-crisis DC universe. And right at the top of the cover, we get the words, "This is it." And it's a very poster-worthy cover as we see Dr. Fate and the heroes who he assembled in issue number 5 flying or racing into battle. Creative credits: John Ostrander, plotter; Len Wein, scripter; John Byrne, penciler; Carl Kiesel, pages 1 to 20; and Dennis Yanke, pages 21 to 30, are the inkers. Steve Haney is the letterer. Carl Gafford is the colorist. Mike Gold is the editor. Something I failed to mention in episode number 113 is that the titles for the 4th and 5th chapters, Cry Havoc and Let Slip the Dogs of War, are a direct reference to a line from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Here we get a much simpler title for Chapter 6, but it's certainly very relevant, Finale. And we start off with a full-page splash showing a very Jack Kirby-looking Darkseid, telling the Phantom Stranger that victory is finally his. Still, the Stranger feels that Darkseid's celebration seems a trifle premature. To which Darkseid, ever the smug, arrogant one, says, "Well, how can that be? It's only a matter of time." And he gives a recap of key events which took place early on in the Legends event. Get a flashback to G. Gordon Godfrey, a.k.a. Glorious Godfrey, using his vocal talents to seduce the people, to turn them against their legends, encourages people to go out and riot, to wave their signs, to burn their heroes in effigy. We also get a callback to Macroman apparently being killed by Captain Marvel. Get a recap of Brimstone overpowering and humiliating the once proud Justice League of America, this being the Detroit-era league, composed of Martian Manhunter, Elongated Man, Vibe, Vixen, Gypsy, and Steel 2, a.k.a. Hank Hayward III. Darkseid recalls that these events and others led to America's president issuing an executive order condemning all superheroes, including the much vaunted Superman. And so, Darkseid says that very soon the Earthmen will drive themselves to destroy their heroes, to destroy all symbols of greatness, thus leaving Darkseid's legend as the only legend which will be left upon the earth. To which the Stranger refuses to back down, and he reminds Darkseid that in his pride and his arrogance, there's one uncontrollable factor that he has not accounted for, and that will prove his downfall. Something which Phantom Stranger alluded to way back in the 2nd issue of Legends. Alright, the scene shifts to Washington, D.C., and G. Gordon Godfrey is standing near the top of the steps to the Lincoln Memorial. He's continuing his rant against the so-called superheroes. Dr. Fate and the other heroes who he assembled are also on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and they are joined by John Johns, the Martian Manhunter. And Dr. Fate is quite surprised as he did not summon the Manhunter, to which the Manhunter responds, "Nevertheless, I go where I am needed." And when Superman asks about the rest of the Justice League, Martian Manhunter replies, at this moment in time, the Justice League of America no longer exists. Well, Godfrey's had enough of this talking, and he sends his warhounds upon the assembled heroes. The Flash is able to get Black Canary out of the way, while Green Lantern Guy Gardner and Captain Marvel use their might to take down a couple of the warhounds. Superman simply smashes through another warhound. Batman is also able to free the human occupants of another warhound, and we see that while they've been forced to pilot these warhounds, they can be removed from these large cybernetic docks. Godfrey realizes that he needs to up the ante, and so he summons Darkseid's Soldier Elite, a large group of parademons who come through a portal that's opened in the sky. And Dr. Fate explains this is why he summoned the heroes. The fate of all humanity now rests in their hands. The heroes who can fly take to the sky, while those who cannot race down the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Well, Dr. Fate attempts to speak reason to the people. He beseeches them to walk away, to forget Gordon Godfrey's insanity, to return to their homes, and the people will hear nothing of it. And at that, a parademon descends and snatches the helm of Nabu right off of Kent Nelson's head. And so, while nobody in the crowd recognizes Kent Nelson, they do see that under what one protester calls a freaky mask, he's a human, and one protester calls him a traitor to his own kind. Fortunately, Kent Nelson reflects that he still retains some small portion of Fate's mystic energies, giving him super strength and the power of flight. So he goes off to find the parademon that took his helmet. In all the craziness, Boomerang, Captain Boomerang, that is, feels that he has been able to get away, but Godfrey and two warhounds quickly catch up to him. And there's a tete-a-tete between Godfrey and Boomerang. And Godfrey knows that it was Boomerang and his friends who were able to take down Brimstone, but he's curious as to why a group of so-called supervillains were working together to defend the world. And it appears that if Godfrey will call off his watchdogs, Captain Boomerang may indeed spill the beans on who exactly or what exactly Task Force X or the Suicide Squad is, just as he was about to do in issue number 5, something that I failed to mention in episode 113. The reason why Waller told Flag to either extract Boomerang or kill him, whichever was easier, was because Boomerang was caught on TV coming close to telling the people that he had friends, and that might lead to him exposing the whole Task Force X operation. And so we see that Flag and Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, and Enchantress are atop a nearby building. Deadshot has his sights set on killing Boomerang, but Flag is able to stop Deadshot from doing that. He wants to extract Boomerang. He doesn't want murder to be on his hands. And so Enchantress is able to use her magic to turn one of the warhounds into strawberry jello, and that forces Godfrey to make a run for it. Flag then sends Bronze Tiger after Godfrey, and Godfrey is able to use his voice to control Bronze Tiger, even though Bronze Tiger is fighting against the impulse to listen to Godfrey's voice. It's too late. He is in Godfrey's enthrall. So that frees the rest of the Suicide Squad, along with Flag, to catch up to Boomerang, and Boomerang gives a half-hearted apology about making certain threats on the television. He says, old Digger wouldn't really breathe a word about... he says, I was only kidding, don't you? And Rick Flag doesn't want to hear anything about it. He punches Boomerang, tells him to shut up. He says, we had the deal, you didn't keep it, you're back with the program, perhaps permanently. We see Batman flying through the sky. Well, not flying, of course, he's using his bat rope, but he descends on a group of thugs. Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, flies into action to take down a warhound, and this is where a new hero enters the scene. As a warhound is about to pounce on a group of innocent people, Wonder Woman appears, and she introduces herself as Diana, firstborn of the noble Hippolyta, I apologize. She's Diana, princess of the Amazons, whom those of man's world shall come to call Wonder Woman. A great intro to Princess Diana on a full-page splash with Guy Gardner just being able to let an eep as he's flying along. And Wonder Woman makes short work of the warhound. Guy Gardner gets his mojo back together, tries talking smart with her. She will have nothing of his ogling and his claim to be a hero. She says that there's much left to be done, that heroes only like her and Gardner can do. And she says, for the record, Guy Gardner, I am nobody's babe. The scene shifts back to the White House, where we have a couple of heavily armed men wearing ski masks. They manage to break into the Oval Office, where the president confronts them and tells them they have exactly 5 seconds to surrender themselves, to which one of the gunmen empties his ammunition on the president. And to his amazement, the president doesn't have any bullet wounds. He's still standing. And not only that, the president also knocks out both of the gunmen and proceeds to fold, or rather crush, their weapons, much like Superman would. And then we see another copy of the American president walk in, except he's not the copy. Turns out the copy was the one who faced the gunman, and he morphs back into Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter has a nice exchange with the president before flying into action to join the other heroes, and the president tells one of the people who's with him to call the press corps. He's rescinding his executive order banning superheroes effective immediately. When Callahan questions his decision, the president says it's the wisest thing that he's done in the past few days. The scene shifts back to the ongoing battle, where we see Superman and Captain Marvel both taking on a large number of parademons. We have the Flash and Changeling also racing into action. Blue Beetle, Black Canary are also taking on angry riders. Batman joins in. And then we see Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman,